All right, everyone. So just strap in for this one and don't leave, because if you do leave, you're going to miss huge life-changing advice and information. I promise you that. So my guest today, I introed him in the beginning, but I need to get into this a little bit more so you get the context, right? So this is Jay Campbell. I swear he's like my male doppelganger, right? So we both want to give people info. We both want to raise their vibration. We want to optimize your life. We just want to educate and empower you and give straightforward advice. So Jay has an amazing podcast called Jay Campbell Podcast, which I have binge listened to as well. I'm totally guilty. And it just resonates with me because we are just no BS people. Let's just give these people their information with straightforward, no bullshit talk. Right? It's just straightforward. So that's one reason why I love this guy. I love listening to him and how we met. So I have a fascination with peptides, total fascination. And I have for years. I truly believe that peptides are going to be that next big thing if the FDA would get their claws off of it, but that's another podcast. And I heard Jay talk, he was being interviewed, and divine intervention literally brought us together. I know in my heart, this is going to be such a big answer for so many of you struggling with hair loss, not being able to regrow your hair. We're going to get into that, into hormones, into testosterone, into DHT. We're going to talk so much today. So that's why I just said, just strap in, listen, rewatch it, re-listen to it, whatever you have to do, take notes, and this will be some really life-changing information. So Jay, thank you so much for coming on the podcast to discuss all of this.
So Amie/Dr. Amie/Doc, I'm sure I'll call you all three of those things at various points in this podcast. It's an honor to be here. And in the spirit of gratitude, as I said to you off the air, and as you and I have been speaking back and forth in voice messages through iPhone, you and I are children of the light, and God did bring us here together to disseminate this information. And as you know, and I know you're the same way, but the business that we're building right now, and obviously you're going to be a part of this, and selling it as an affiliate, and of course just promoting it to your audience. This is about helping people. This is not about the big pharma model of how much money can we make and how long can we keep people addicted to our medications or our sick pills until they eventually run out of money or die, and preferably in their eyes, both at the same time. This is literally about helping millions and ultimately billions of people with two of the biggest problems, Amie, as you know, that people have, had for millennia, which is skin issues and hair issues.
Yep.
And it causes so many psychological, self-esteem, psychogenic issues for human beings when they don't feel that their physical appearance is where they want it to be. And so, it's a gift, obviously, to be here, to be talking to you today, and then to have met my business partner, and now, of course, to meet people like you, so that folks like us can really let the universe decide, like, what do you want to choose? Do you want to choose a drug that inhibits your biological systems, or do you want to use something that is totally organic and natural that literally is only going to aid what, usually age, attenuates?
Yep, exactly. And we'll get into the drugs too, but let's start. I just love, I don't even know where to go first. I just love all of the information. And it's just, I promise you, my listeners, you guys that are listening right now, this is going to resonate with you because you're struggling with this. So Jay, as you know, I see mostly, and most of my listeners, followers are thyroid patients, hormone patients, right? So it can be the guy that has low testosterone that I want to talk about. It can be the lady that has a thyroid problem and low T, and hair is falling out everywhere. So for my ladies especially, these are the ones that I get, that they will count the hairs that come out of their head and say, amazing. I had 253 hairs come out today, Amie. What do I do? And it happens every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is really going to speak to them.
Yeah. I mean, so it's again, hair loss is a very misunderstood, without, and obviously the articles that part one of the article that we published on Ben Greenfield's website yesterday, because I know today's Wednesday, I think you said you're going to publish this pretty quickly, but part two next week will be So part one is like the how, okay? And then part two is, okay, I understand hair loss now, which, as you know, we're going to get into in depth. No one ever has.
Right.
Like, this is seminal information. And unfortunately, the smart people in the industry knew and have known for 3 or 4 years. But if you're attached to the clinical space, as you know, you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. You're not going to go against all these DHT inhibition medications because there's huge revenue streams. So a lot of people have kind of just sat back in the background and just said, and let men, and unfortunately even women, use these DHT inhibition drugs. But we now know that none of that is a primary causal agent of hair loss, right? Like, we know 100% that hair loss comes down to a lack of follicle health. And what causes poor or good follicle health is blood flow to the scalp. And today, as you know, we'll talk about your women right now. And by the way, I'm really glad to be having this conversation with you, because you're the person that deserves this conversation, because I have already seen in just the last week hundreds of comments from women. And you know what they say? Does it work for women? It's not even a matter of like, I don't care, I didn't read the article, or I did read the article. It's literally just, there's so much hair stuff for men, or presented to men, and nothing is ever quote unquote presented to women in the way that we're going to do this here today. And then, another thing, and you know this better than me, is that women don't really like to talk about this. This is like the scarlet letter for women. Men brag about their hair loss. They talk about transplants. I take 5 milligrams of DHT every 3 days, or finasteride, or whatever, but women, It's something they don't like to talk about. So this is a profound, again, podcast, obviously a profound product that will stop women's hair loss due to, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, and even, as you said, thyroid imbalances and, trauma, psychogenic spiritual trauma and stuff like that. So back to the cause. We know that it's due to poor blood flow to the scalp. Okay.
Right.
Now, what causes poor blood flow to the scalp? I mean, you know better than me. There's hundreds of things that you and I could come up with that cause poor blood flow to the scalp. But, the easiest way to describe it and to say, well, how do we stop it is, or what can you truly control for, is obviously your inflammation, your lifestyle. If you have it, or if you had heavy metal or lead or poisoning or something like that,
right,
you can get tested, as you know, which I'm sure you've done with hundreds of your patients. Those are the kind of things that you can actually, from a qualitative standpoint, measure. But beyond that, it's genetics. It's how often are you in the sun? What kind of environmental contaminants and endocrine disrupting chemicals and other particulates are you exposed to? So it's kind of hard to control for all of those things, but at least we now know that it comes down to blood flow to the scalp. So reduce your inflammation, improve your lifestyle, lower your circulating insulin, clean up the way you eat, practice fasting or low carbohydrate living or whatever, I call it living fully optimized. But those are the first steps that you have to take. And then from there, it's an understanding of like, okay, reduce my inflammation. I know that I'm living a clean lifestyle.
Yeah.
How am I going to improve the blood flow to my scalp? And obviously we'll talk about it, but Oxano Grow is probably the first, real mainstream. We're not really in the mainstream yet, but we will be, product that addresses, all of the issues of poor follicle health, which is obviously, again, blood flow and microinflammations. And so those two things in the scalp, when you solve for those or control for those, you can regrow your own hair. And as you know, even people that have a predisposition genetically. So androgenic alopecia. I mean, both of these conditions can be overcome with Oxano.
That's so amazing. So I'm going to back up for just a second, because the people listening are exactly what you said. They're saying, listen, I've already tried to optimize my thyroid, especially my patients that are still suffering with hair loss. Listen, I optimized my thyroid. I'm taking zinc. I got my ferritin level up. I'm taking my vitamin D. All those things that you say are so important for hair and head, but I'm still losing my hair. I still can't grow. I still have this bald spot. What is going on? So that now, I mean, you're shedding light for me. And that's why I'm so excited to have you on. You're shedding light for me for another avenue to look at with these people, another answer that we can give them. Yes, you want to reduce your inflammation, reduce your stress, optimize your thyroid. Let's balance your hormones. Let's get your zinc levels up. You know, you can't eat at McDonald's and expect to use Oxano and have hair growth. But this is just fantastic that this is one more thing in that puzzle that we can do to take it to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you and I are the people to talk about this. Like, the problem with women, even more so than men, is that women are much more conscious on their image and their appearance than men. It's the way society created us, right? Like, you know, the fallen angels about 2,000 years ago made women wear makeup and all the other stuff. And, you know, guys, you know, have to appear the way they do. So it's just all this, like, thousands of years of, like, you know, transference, you know, of cultural norms and mores or whatever, that, like, women have to look the way they do, right? Like, you have to put on more paint, you have to do this, you have to appear this way. So obviously, because of that, women stress over their appearance way more than men. So one of the biggest issues is that when women start having hair loss, and you know the word, what is it? It's telophagem, whatever. I always cannot pronounce that. It's like a term for female hormonal hair loss. Like, I can't pronounce the term. It doesn't matter. Whatever. It's in the article.
Right.
But for women, when they start having it, the bigger issue is it's a quantum physics issue, because now all of a sudden, like you said, they're counting their hairs. And so now they're focused on it.
Yep.
And so now literally the focus upon it is actually creating the actual manifestation of more hair falling out. So the first step is, okay, I don't need to worry about my hair falling out anymore, because I have this product that we'll talk about in a second that can increase basically blood flow to my scalp and is going to suppress, if not completely eliminate, the microinflammations in my scalp. So now I have to take a mindset of, like, I'm going to regrow my hair and nothing's going to stop it. And I don't have to lay in bed at night, you know, in my mind talking about my 237 hairs that I counted.
Right.
That fell out of my head. So it's the first step of, okay, I got this. And then the second step is, okay, now how do I use this, right? So let's talk about Oxano. So right now it's a 2-phase product, okay? And the reason that it's a 2-phase product is for many reasons, but for simplicity and for the show, Serum A is the copper peptide GHKCU. Now, to talk about copper peptide for a second, you know, as you know, on the Ben Greenfield podcast, you know, my business partner, Nick Andrews, who's brilliant, smartest guy on the planet in peptide formulation. There's no one like him. But he, you know, calls copper peptide GHKCU the sham wow of peptides, because it does so many things. It has so many applications. It has so many different mechanisms of action. But in the skin and in the hair, it stimulates complete what is called angiogenesis, or a rebirth or a revitalization or a recreation of the cells that enhance blood flow and collagen synthesis. So essentially, when you put, and we'll talk about this at some point, but when you put copper peptide GHKCU on your face, it starts a cellular regeneration in the skin and the dermis, the first level of the skin. So essentially, your face will have like a remodeled collagen matrix within, you know, some people see it as early as like 17 to 21 days. Some people it takes, you know, 60 to 90. It just depends on obviously the same thing, right? What's your level of systemic inflammation?
Right.
Someone who smokes and treats their body like shit is not going to have the same results putting it on their faces like you and me.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, it's very simple when you get down to it. But when you put copper peptide GHKCU topically into the scalp, and that's Serum A of Oxano for now, it enhances angiogenesis, which again is the blood flow, red blood cell formation, collagen synthesis. And then the second phase of the product is Serum B, which is the carbon 60, which is a nanomolecule. It's a Buckminster fullerene, and it works in 2 ways. Primarily, it's a molecular sponge to pull all of the microinflammations in your scalp. So basically the free oxyradicals, you know, just the harmful waste and byproducts of living in your life and having stuff get into your hair and your scalp. And not to mention all the shit that women put in their hair, products and shampoos and all that stuff. So it does that first, it rids of the waste, and then it's twofold, which is even bigger for us and the purposes of what we want to do to regrow and regenerate hair growth, is it pulls in the copper peptide into the first level of the dermis. So you get maximum, like almost what I call super oxidative dismutase effect of pulling in the oxano into the hair follicle. So it will regenerate the follicular health and essentially regrow the hair follicle itself. So that's why it's a two-phase product. And, explaining that, and hopefully that's a good enough explanation, you will get regrowth. Some people, and again, it's the same thing when you put it on your face as in your scalp. What is your level of systemic inflammation? Right. Someone like me literally regrew my hair in 2 months. Okay. Now
I saw the before and after pics. I saw them.
Right. So like, I don't put it on my side of my head. Right. And you can see, I don't really have that much hair growth. I just don't apply it here. And I keep it shaved. Tomorrow will be day 22. Day 21 is tomorrow. So day 22 is Friday. I usually get my hair cut anywhere between 21 and 22 days. But before I started using Oxano, I had, which is also talked about in the article next week, but it was mentioned in the podcast. I had the Vantis procedure done in Newport Beach, which is basically a micro pigmentation of the scalp. It's like a hair tattoo.
Yeah.
So for someone like me who had almost no hair, I just wanted like a 5 o'clock shadow on top of my dome. Mm-hmm. So, and I just keep my hair close cropped, because I had some active follicles on my scalp, but it was just a mess. Right. It's coming in patchy. I was just like, I'm done. So, as we said in the podcast, and I'll save it, I don't have to talk about it on the show, but as the world would have it, there's no coincidences, only synchronicities. Ben started promoting our serum and cream last June, the same day that we launched Oxana. And we almost went out of business. You heard that on the podcast. Yeah. I mean, literally every single bottle that we shipped over Black Friday of last year broke. It was a total disaster. Thank God we had a provisional patent on the delivery system, and it's supplied for like 8 different ways. And so I was trying to convince Nick, like, dude, let's just shut it down. The name of our company is Aseir Custom. What the hell does that even mean? Nobody even can pronounce the word, right? So he was like, no, bro. And, credit to him that he held me, because I was like, dude, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But he said, nope, we're going to fight through this and we're going to get to where we are. And here I am talking to you today. But the provisional patent was created to ultimately deliver a one-phase system. Okay. Obviously it's going to be a lot less complicated. People don't care about having to put one and then the other and, remembering all that stuff. So the next version, actually he just sent me a screenshot like 20 minutes before you and I got on this podcast. The contract manufacturing company that we use in Boca Raton, Florida, they already sent it to him yesterday and he played around with it. And he loves it. And so he's sending it me today. And then if I approve on it, it'll be ready to go sometime fourth quarter. And it will be a liposomal delivery system. So what we don't know yet is if it's going to be in a applicator with like a dropper, put it in your scalp, or if it's going to be in a massager or an agitator, so that both men and women will get it into the scalp. Now, it's important that I say this, and you already know this. You cannot, as a long-haired woman, put this shit in your hair and not massage it into your scalp.
Right.
Yes. Well, so that's actually a good point, because you can get stronger roots by doing that.
Okay.
And if you have hair loss, you've got to get it into the scalp, because remember, it's a scalp health product, and that is the big issue. And let me say some other things to throw shade on the industry. And I didn't know this. I wish I was this smart. But Nick, being the brilliant, researcher and chemist that he is, he's been telling me for 3 years as we started developing all these things that all the hair loss companies out there, and I won't name names even though I could, who use mousses, they're worthless. Because why is that, Amy? Because mousse doesn't get into the scalp.
Right.
So think of all of them, and I can name names.
Yeah.
But think of all of them and their products that they sell.
And then they put it into a pink box to market to women too. So yeah, we'll just change the color.
They're literally using foam products that don't get into the scalp. So it's almost a completely ineffective delivery system. And by the way, I know some people will challenge me when they see this podcast, but it's true. I mean, you can do efficacy tests between drops, spray in, and any other kind of scalp, serum. And a foam is literally gone as it goes into the hair follicles. So it never gets into the scalp, especially the longer your hair. Someone like you would never get it into the scalp.
No, never. And
I so bad I want to throw shade on somebody, but I won't.
I know.
Company, but you just know the biggest names all have mousses in their products.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would argue anyone that says that oh, Jay, you're wrong. I got a little bit of hair growth. I know. Well, again, what else were you doing? Were you cleaning up your lifestyle? Were you dropping the alcohol? Were you taking down your inflation? Were you doing scalp massage to increase blood flow somehow? Were you using one of those little things you can get at Sky Mall? You know, so what else were you doing? Maybe it wasn't the mousse that wasn't getting into your scalp. Maybe it was all the other things.
Some of it probably did, just, you know, over time. There's always, you know, that, what is it? Every blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, right? Yeah. So, I mean, like it would have seeped in, and so you could easily show that you had something. I mean, look, let's talk about DHT inhibition.
Yeah, please. Because ladies always get DHT tested, right? They go to their doctor, I'm losing hair. Let's test your DHT. And I was guilty of that too. I would always look at
everyone.
Yeah, everybody does.
Look, I have two friends, as I said on the podcast, I'll share deeper here. I have two very close friends who killed themselves. Okay. And I don't choke up anymore about it, but, you know, I think about their wives and their kids. And at the time that this happened, you know, PFS wasn't even understood. It wasn't even known. There were some groups online. This is over 15 years ago, but there were some groups online that, you know, mentioned this, but there wasn't the awareness that we have about it now today. And it's just like, I still think of all these men, Amie, that, you know, are using, and listen, I have friends right now that have been using, you know, 2.5 milligrams a day for 20 plus years, right? It's insane. They definitely have erectile dysfunction. Right. They have mood disorders. And the saddest part about it is they live with this shit.
And it's this like, is from,
you know what, deeper. Dude, I'll keep my hair, but I'll be not a good human being and feel like shit all the time. But hey, I have hair.
Yeah, but I have hair. Exactly. And some people will do that. But this is to clarify, this is post-finasteride syndrome. That's what you're talking about, the PFS. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's absolutely a horrific thing. If you go into any of the online men's groups who suffer from this, I mean, look, these guys have suicidal ideation all the time. Literally wake up in the morning and are like, man, I want to turn out the lights.
And are they making the connection?
No. Okay. I mean, obviously the guys that are in these groups are, and they have, but I mean, think about how long they never did. And again, same old shit. Guys would go to their docs and be like, you're fine. Give them an SSRI.
Yeah. Another Band-Aid. Another Band-Aid that can cause hair loss. Go figure.
Another Band-Aid. Literally another Band-Aid. And, you know, and that's what I said yesterday. And obviously I said it on Ben's podcast, and I'll say it here again. I did a video for my channel yesterday about this. But, like, look, Big Pharma is not smarter than God. When you attempt to inhibit a natural hormonal cascade or some form of a biological system, you are going to have second order effects. You are going to have things that are going to come downstream. They're going to be, you know, causal issues. And you're obviously, and this is the big thing that we have to talk about. You literally develop a physiologic and a psychogenic dependency. Now let's talk about what that means. The physiologic dependency is, okay, you've now attached to the receptors, the DHT receptors in the scalp with the drug. And so guess what? If you stop taking it, the receptors die. The follicle shafts just and fall off and you lose your hair.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a great thing for Big Pharma because now they've got you hooked.
Come back. Yep.
It's actually not stopping anything other than it preventing further shedding. But it's now made you like physiologically addicted. And now, because you're physiologically addicted, you've got the second order psychogenic effects that will ultimately happen. And look, I know guys who will watch this or will see this, you know, who want to throw shade at me, will say, look, bro, I don't care. This is my job. You know, I have to look a certain way and I will trade off, you know, because I'll just use Cialis or Levitra or whatever I got to use. And I'm already on testosterone, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, look, and this is the argument that I always made, and we can talk about this at some point or even in the next podcast, but it's like, it's the same thing with inhibiting estrogen when you're on testosterone. Okay. Terrible move, because ultimately estrogen, you know, through obviously aromatase, estradiol, is what confers all of the protection to your biological systems. So if you're not actually allowing estrogen to go through your body at its natural level or attenuate at its natural level, you're suppressing the good things that come from taking testosterone. So it's like, it's just such a confusing paradox for so many people. But it's the same thing with DHT. Suppress your DHT, and over time, you are going to be screwed up. And it's, like I said, it's multifactorial. It's not just sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction. It's literally, holy shit, Amie, I don't know why I'm living here anymore. Yeah. Like that's what is coming from doing this.
And all from your hair. And I'm all for vanity. Like, listen, do things for yourself that make you feel better about yourself. That's totally fine. But if it's this cascade effect that can be addressed in a different way, where you don't feel like you're going to kill yourself, where you're not losing your erections, where you're, I mean, let's look at the other options that are out there. So you don't have to sacrifice your hair for your life.
It's so crazy. I mean, I could just comment about like, it was the same shit with the guys that were on AIs. They would literally come to you, come to me, come to other clinicians, and they would say, but dude, I have to use 1.5 milligrams every 5th day or every 3rd day or whatever, because if I don't, blank, blank, blank. And then it's like, you realize that they've created, and I'll give this to Dr. Keith Nichols, he created this terminology, but they have a belief perseverance that they have to use this minimal effective dose to give them blank. And then again, it's all quantum physics. What you focus on, you manifest.
Yes.
So you have this determination in your mind that you need, again, let's just apply it to DHT, that you have to take 2.5 milligrams of DHT every day, or my hair's going to fall out. Even though I can't get an erection, my wife is cheating on me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, dude, it's insane. I mean, look, I'll bring up my wife's, situations before her and I were together. Like, she came out of her divorce. She's like, dude, I was with like 2 different dudes that were on that. And it was like the biggest joke ever. Like, and she's like, and I would ask them like, don't you think this is like not normal? And they're like, oh no, I just use Viagra or Cialis. So, I mean, if that's a sample population, I can only imagine how many men out there right now, are like, now they're going to have to reevaluate their life. As Oxano becomes bigger and more focused and gets more information, people like you push it out into the universe, guys are going to start questioning, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's not worth this.
Yeah, exactly. And so the other thing that you talk about in the article is actually suppressing testosterone too, not just DHT, not suppressing, but lowering testosterone, right. Or accepting a lower number, which you and I see all the time, whether you're a girl or a guy. If you're a guy coming in at 300, you're normal in the conventional medicine world. If you're a girl coming in at 20, you're normal in the conventional medicine world, but you're going to feel like shit. But now we're finding that low testosterone is actually contributing to hair loss.
Exactly.
Instead of the other way around, that conventional medicine thinks that high testosterone contributes to hair loss.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. So, I mean, that's obviously all those mechanisms of action are in there, but we now know that testosterone almost has zero to do with it. Obviously having a deficiency of anything is going to cause an inflammatory body, a systemic inflammation. So absolutely, if you want to A, B, C down the line, then absolutely having a deficiency of testosterone is not going to help you regrow your hair.
Right.
Because you're going to feel like shit. You're going to have no energy. I mean, again, it's the same thing, right? Like, we know the placebo effect is real, but like, if you do not feel well, and obviously if you have a testosterone or any hormonal deficiency, you are inflamed.
Yeah.
Because you are metabolically dysregulated, right? Like, you have probably high levels of circulating insulin, probably high levels of visceral body fat. I mean, we both know, right? Like, every guy that you see who comes in with a deficiency, who's not like on top of his game, has a big belly.
Yeah.
They get all this visceral fat in their belly. So, I mean, of course they're not feeling good. Of course they're going to be high stressed. Of course their sleep is completely disrupted. So all of those things, lead to hair loss. It goes back to the whole point of like the women counting the hairs. They're literally laying in bed at night. It's like counting sheep, but they're counting their hairs.
Right.
And they're like, how am I going to go to, what am I going to do, Amie? I'm losing my hair. If I lose my hair, blah.
So I hear that all the time. I hear exactly that.
So it's really, the idea that like, okay, first let's heal ourselves from a trauma standpoint. Like, everything's okay. I'm seeing a professional like Dr. Amie, she's got this, now there's this product out there that I know that if I reduce my inflammation and I improve my lifestyle and I clean up my stress levels and I start sleeping better, which you got that from the hormone balancing, then I don't have to worry about this anymore. Right. But I think, and it's important that you and I talk about this, I really do think, and I know you were texting me about this, like, let's attack the clinical community for a second here, because the clinical community is not helping, okay? How many people who come to you that you work with, do you have to literally un-F-U-C-K, right? Because they have been plaqued into oblivion by God knows what, you call it conventional medicine. I call it sick care, whatever you want to call it. But like, if that's where you go today to get your hormones, evaluated, I mean, you're already, 100 miles away from the bullseye. Right? Like, I still get guys who message me like, will insurance cover that? Delete.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's another.
If you're that far off, bro, I can't help you. You need to read more, search more, Google more, do your homework more. But it's crazy. So, there's no question that the average clinician, for a guy who comes in, what do? They instantly write him a prescription for Propecia. Yep. If the guy can't get his insurance to cover Propecia, he'll be like, oh, well, we'll just do minoxidil script.
Yep. Same with ladies. Say they get the same thing. They just get a Band-Aid. Yeah.
It's mind blowing to think of that. So I don't actually know that answer. Like, how many women, are there a ton of women that are on DHT blockers too?
Yeah, a decent amount, because what'll happen with women, they'll come in and they'll say, I'm losing my hair. So the doctor will test their DHT, because that's their line of thought is, well, you must have PCOS, where you have high testosterone, high androgens, or you have an elevated DHT level. So let's test that. And then let's put you on birth control and a DHT blocker, give you some spironolactone and some Rogaine, and call it a day. And an SSRI too. And so,
by the way, that is going to be a quote. You need to put that quote out across social media and call it a day.
And call it a day.
I didn't know that. I heard about spironolactone. I knew that.
Yeah.
The fact that they're actually on a blocker.
Yeah.
And then, but no addressing of their actual hormones at all, right? Because
no, they won't even get they won't even get progesterone tested. Doctors think that women have estrogen, and then sometimes testosterone if there's a problem, along with DHT. So we'll check that if there's a problem, but if not, you'll just get estrogen tested. You may or may not get progesterone tested. We don't even remember that there's pregnenolone and DHEA, and it's insane. Yeah. And I run into the same thing with thyroid though. People will test TSH, but not test the actual thyroid hormones. Same thing. So a woman can be losing her hair due to non-optimized thyroid, due to high inflammation, high systemic inflammation in her body, and she just gets a bunch of Band-Aids. That's it.
I can't even imagine. I read that book a long time ago, Stop the Thyroid Madness, and it was an enlightening book for me a long time ago. And obviously this is what you deal with day in, day out. But I am blown away at how many physicians literally destroy women's thyroid because they have no idea what they're doing. They just put them on T3 and whack their thyroid out forever.
Well, or T4, and they get no change whatsoever. Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
So I was in the whole bodybuilding, fitness, fitness modeling, all that community. So I saw women who went into the bodybuilding area, get that male pattern baldness, lose their hair along their hairline. So what is that? And if there are non-bodybuilding women out there, and I know some of my patients experience this too, where they lose it along the hairline. Can you describe that? What causes that?
Yeah. So, that's just basically how do you say that? Hirsutism or whatever. So essentially when a woman is taking too many androgens, they become more masculized or what's the word for that? They become hyper masculine. Yeah. And so that is just like the hair loss is because they become more male. And so the hair from the estrogen and the way the women's, the gallineoptica, whatever that thing that holds the handband, it actually pushes back because they're becoming more male-like. So they're becoming more masculine. So it's actually pulling it back. And so that's why their hair drops back to here. They become more like a dude.
Okay.
And that's literally what's happening, but it's not permanent, which is cool. But obviously
with that, right?
Hair loss is.
Oxano can help with that, whether you're male or
100%.
female.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as long as, let's talk about that. So as long as there are active follicles in the scalp, you will regrow your hair. Again, provided all those other things, you low inflammation, you clean up your lifestyle, you're not stressed out beyond all belief, and you're sleeping at night.
Right.
I would say that let's talk about this. The people that Oxano will not work for are people that have COPD, any kind of pulmonary breathing dysfunction, so airway dysfunction. You've got just absolutely no blood flow, right? There's other conditions we're not mentioning, but if you have just really poor blood flow, vascular architecture is caved in, it's not going to work for you very well. But I mean, Amie, we have thousands of people over the age of 65 who have completely regrown their hair. Guys, you see guys a lot of times, and there's plenty of women too, but you see guys where they have like the mop over, and it's just like the thin piece. So those guys, when they, again, assuming they clean up their life a lot and start using it, that mop over gets a lot thicker, right? I mean, it's not going to be magic for everybody, but if you still have active follicles and you're young enough, Oxano will regrow your hair to like when you were at your peak of like your late 20s and your early 30s. And the best part about it, and this is the question that we didn't really cover with Ben, it does next week's article, is that once you develop or retain or attain a level of growth that you're confident and happy with, when you stop, it's not going to fall out. You're not dependent on it.
There you go. So how often do you have to use it then?
So that's a great question. We don't really know the answer yet, but the theory from the research is that you would probably want to use and this is coming from us, you'd want to use one of two things. Either an evening product that you would like leave in after you get out of the shower. So again, improving scalp health, or a conditioner, which would probably be better or a type for women, which it'll be like a spray in, like a detangler.
Yeah.
But something that you would use after you spray in, you would again massage the scalp.
Okay.
So you would have like an applicator. I would think that ultimately we will have for current Oxano, which remember is going to only be one phase, there will be a day and evening. So the evening will be a dropper for sure. And then the day will either be an applicator, so an advanced version of it. Think of like Oxano on steroids. Well, so you would buy like an applicator. Honestly, it'll probably have the option for red light. Yeah. So you put it in, and then boom, you red light your scalp for 4, 6 minutes, whatever. And then the nighttime, I'm pretty sure the nighttime is going to be a dropper because we can't please everybody. Some people want like a spray it in, like the original serum, spray it into your thing, and then women can kind of go into their roots and stuff like that in the areas they have holes. But I think it'll just be a dropper because in that way, regardless of how long your hair is, you can go down in through the hair and just get in.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not sure. I'm not positive on that, but I'm pretty sure that that's ultimately what it'll be. I know for sure there's going to be an evening product, and I would think the maintenance product will be most likely something that you can just apply in the shower. Right. So like you're washing your hair out and you want to do something once a week. You've got hair regrowth and you feel really good about your hair. You probably reuse that once a week. That's what I would assume. But I definitely know that when we get really crazy aggressive with this for people that have like really bad loss, there'll be a day and an evening product. So, because remember in the evening, it's a lot more important to get it into the scalp because you don't have the microinflammations that you have during the day.
Right.
You know this, right? Walking around in New York City, walking around in LA, walking around in Miami, there's so much shit in the air. It's just getting in your scalp. It's contaminating your hair and your follicles. So at night when you're sleeping, hopefully you're actually sleeping, when you put it in, you're going to get much better stimulation of angiogenesis and collagen synthesis sleeping than you would walking around during the day. So we know for sure that eventually it'll be like an A and B. And I can tell you this, which is really cool. This was literally decided this morning. Too many people, too many people are more is better in America, right?
Oh God, yeah.
So we get so many people who be like, bro, I ran out of A. I still got a lot of B. And we're like, it's the same amount.
Yeah.
But as you know, people want to see things. They want to see their hair oily. And I'll talk about that in a second, but we're going to do strips. So it'll basically be a package of 90 strips So, because we say up to 90 days, right? So if you want to be that person that uses 2 a.m. and p.m., then it'll last you 45 days. But if you want to be that person that just does it once a day, it'll last you 90 days, right? So, but we'll create 90 probably little strip foils, and then there'll either be an applicator or a dropper or whatever it is. And then that way people can't complain and say, hey man, I ran out in 22 days because I smeared it all over my face. I mean, we've actually had stories of people saying, you ruined my sheets and my pillowcases, bro.
I believe it. No, because I'm guilty of that too. So I saw your video because I got the Oxano and then I got the face cream too, because I want both. I mean, when I heard about your wife's basically coming out and saying, this is amazing, like look at the changes in my skin. So I really wanted to use the skin, but your instructions are a tiny amount. What is it, like the tip of your pinky fingernail?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, like, I won't do it, but this is Serum A, and it's a royal blue. So we call it royal blue serum. And then this, of course, this is my wife's, and she's like complaining, dude, I need more. But this is the sky blue, right? And so why people, so let's cover everything, copper peptide GHKCU in actual raw fine material is a purple blue mist. It's beautiful color. It's absolutely amazing. And that's, again, in its pure powder-like form. So when you put it in a solution, like this is a water-based solution, you can see it. It's, like a purple blue. But when you put it in a cream, which is a moisturizing cream, which, the only differentiator is goat's milk in this, it's sky blue. So, but this is how you have actual real GHKCU. And let's talk about that, because I know a lot of your listeners probably are familiar with GHKCU because you can go on Amazon. I always tell people, go on Amazon and search GHK copper peptide and look what comes up. And dude, there's shit sold. They got stuff selling there for like $14.99.
It's bad. Okay? I always tell people, don't buy from Amazon. Come on.
Well, look, there isn't any real GHKCU in there. I mean, again, as I told you off the air, we're the world's biggest buyer of GHKCU right now. We just became that. And we know what it costs in volume. And there is no possible way that there's any active ingredient in anything under $40. It's impossible. So, I mean, whatever they have in there is fake, and again, as I told you, most of the GHKCU that comes out of China, and we're not going to pick on China, but it literally is like a light blue, smells like solvent because, well, I'll just leave it at that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So can you break it down even further? What are peptides? Why are they kind of the up and coming thing, like I always say? And what is GHKCU?
Yep. So GHKCU stands for glycyl hydrate. I don't know. It's a chemical formulation, but it's a copper peptide. And the copper peptide, the ion is a purple tinge or a blue tinge. So that's why it looks this color. But peptides are fractionated proteins. Biomolecules, but they're totally natural. They're, made from just tissue proteins from human skin samples and human proteins. And there's literally thousands of peptides. I mean, we've identified so far in medicine a couple hundred. Ben talks about them in the article as bioregulators. Now there is a separation, and Nick is like the nerd when it comes to separating people, but like bioregulators are heavily patented in Russia. Okay. They're probably like actually one step up from peptides, in that they're probably more efficacious than even peptides are. But we're not even close to being in the United States where we can actually work with bioregulators, but they're pretty phenomenal. Like there's bioregulators for the heart that if people have like a severe myocardial infarction, you could use a peptide, a heart peptide bioregulator and completely repair the heart.
It's like TB 500. Is that the?
Oh no, that's still peptides. There's bioregulators, dude, that are 10x TB and BPC 157.
Oh my
God.
Can't
get them. Yeah, wow. You just can't get them. They're in Russia, and they patented them a long time ago. And look, the Russians are way ahead of us. Their science, especially when it comes to hormones and peptides and bioregulators, is like light years beyond us. Yeah. And they've been working with these things since the 60s. So that's what I tell people all the time is like, personally, I've been using peptides since 2004. Now, back then, there was very, very little familiarity in the clinical space. The only people that knew about them were the bro world, and there were tons of people in the bro world that were using peptides back then, especially like ipamorelin. what was it?
Femoral
2 and GHRP2 and 6 and all those things. But like nowadays, where we're at now with them, like that stuff is medieval, right? Like, I mean, ipamorelin is still good. CGC 1295 is still good, but there's other amazing novel ones. You just mentioned them, like the healing peptides, TB, BPC, thymosin alpha. I mean, there's so many different new peptides that are like way beyond that stuff. But the truth is, and again, we're going back to the clinical space again. I mean, the lack of awareness in the clinical community is insane. Nick and I were at the A4M Vegas before this debacle of last year happened. Yeah. And, we were at the Tailor Made booth. My wife was passing out copies of her book. It had just published in November. And we got all these clinicians coming up there talking to us about peptides. And I was like, oh my God, they're writing scripture peptides and they don't even know the difference between a microgram and a milligram. They don't understand reconstitution. So, I mean, I was, that was when it hit me. And I was like, Nick was there with me and we were just like, dude, there's such a massive opportunity for education here. So we wrote, and this is kind of a bonus to talk about, but we wrote the peptide book. But dude, it was ready to go in September of last year. We can't find a single person on planet Earth to publish it. There's so much conversion math and stuff. And, we reached out to some heavy hitters and they're like, you might as well just make a course.
Oh my God.
So, what?
But that's what we need. That's what we need. I need.
Yeah, no, it's coming. And I promise you, it's going to be a game changer for the clinical space. I mean, we already know that we hired a serious course creation team. They're charging us, I won't tell you, but it is outrageously a fortune, but it's going to be worth it because there's going to be a clinician program. And then there's going to be just the general public, like, how do I not kill myself and use peptides?
Yes.
So that's coming from me and Nick by probably mid-September. We actually have a call, our second call with those folks on Friday. But I mean, the book is done. So it's just like literally taking the book and making it into something that people can understand.
Right.
But yes, it is extremely needed in the world because people are lost using peptides.
Totally lost. The biggest thing is really, I only pull back to the second tick mark. Are you sure? No, it's got to be 20. I mean, we really need to break it down for people.
It's unbelievable. But that's why we were broken when we couldn't get the book out there because nobody could help us with the breakdowns and the math and, understanding like reconstitution and what's a microgram, what's a milligram, what's the difference between the two. Yeah. I mean, and again, when you think about it, like how do you create charts in paper of that stuff? Yeah. Nobody's going to even pay attention to it.
It's tough.
Yeah. So we're going to do videos. We're going to, show how to inject, how to reconstitute, how to do the math, create a peptide calculator in the course,
right.
So people can convert depending on the size of their syringe and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a huge thing. And, like I said, even smart doctors that I know get lost in the weeds in that stuff,
right.
Because syringe size, will differentiate and change. Okay. It's complex. Let's put it
complex, but that's the beauty of Oxana though, is you don't have to inject it. It actually is just topical. You don't need, because so many people, as you know, they don't, even if a peptide would create hair growth, they don't want to use a needle.
No, they're needle phobia. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I have a mastermind that I run and it's all nothing but clinicians in it.
Yep.
And we had a call actually today at 12 and it was like, we were joking with one of the guys because he has been going to his doctor. He's a clinician himself and he's been going to his doctor to get injected. And so we're all laughing at him. We're like, bro, and we switched him to a new clinician and I'm like, I could tell he was nervous. I'm like, you're worried about injecting yourself tomorrow, aren't you? And he goes, not really. And then everybody started making fun of him and he was like, okay, maybe a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
It's true. The first time you inject yourself, you're like, it's like you're using like a 31 gauge needle. You can like jab somebody in the eye and they wouldn't even feel it. But you're right. I mean, it's like, you have a needle phobia and most people, you're right. Most people won't do it.
Most people won't. So that's the beauty of your product. Listen, all you have to do is rub it in. That's it. Whether it's your skin or your hair.
It literally is that simple. So let's talk about that then. So with Serum A, okay, water-based, again, copper peptide, spray it in literally like this. You're not agitating it. You're not being an idiot.
Yep.
Okay. 30 seconds, whatever. Now, and I haven't talked about this, but I will because I'm talking to Amie Hornaman. You want to go right after the red line. I mean, right after Serum A, the GHK copper peptide, which again is the angiogenic part of the formulation, go into red light.
Yeah.
So if you have a red light, Juve portable, and there's a million of them, and I don't want to get into the names. The owners of Juve are good friends of mine, but you can get a cap, put the cap on, 2 or 3 minutes. You could just, my wife's got that video where she does after the serum and cream, which we'll talk about, she puts that on her face, sticks it right up in front of the panel, the Juve panel. But red light is huge. And again, next week in the article, that is the second part of the article, we go deep into the mechanisms of action on what you can do in addition to Oxano to really enhance your results. But if I'm going to put, my money on something, what is the biggest adjuvant post Oxano? It's red light, because there is just ample data and research on how red light enhances angiogenic effects in the scalp, in the skin, in the face, blah, blah, blah. So, if you're going to do, let's just say you're limited financially, and I know most of your people aren't, but let's just say you are. If you're going to pick 2 things, you're going to do red light and you're going to do Oxano.
Yep.
Okay. And we'll talk about other things.
Now. They're pretty affordable, because Juve has a mini. They have like the hand.
Oh, exactly. And dude, you can get a hat on eBay for $79.
Yeah.
And the flicker rate's not bad. I mean, I've seen them tested. So ultimately, because people want instant gratification and one-step solutions.
Right.
I know for a fact that ultimately we will have an applicator that'll have a red light in it. So you go like this, be one face, and then we'll also sell a cap. And the cap will be a novel thing that you will sleep with.
Oh, there you go.
Like a tiny little yarmulke or some shit, probably like that. And you'll, like somehow it'll be attached to the side of your scalp and it won't fall off when you roll over and sleep or whatever. And you wear that at night, and it'll obviously be controlled remote. So it'll go off after 20 minutes or something like that. And then like an hour, it'll come back on. So, you don't need that much red light, but like, again, for people that have massive loss, and they want to get super aggressive to regrow it, there's, unique things you can do. So that's A. So then after you do A, you put the B on, and the B is the nanomolecule carbon 60. Now, it's important that people know right now that this is a grapeseed oil extract. So grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is the thinnest carrier oil that you can get for a molecule to actually cross through the first layer of the dermis. So when we first made this was MCT oil, and Amie, that was a mess. I mean, it worked just as well. Yeah. But MCT oil, as you know, is freaking coconut oil. It's palmitic acid.
Right.
So it's very, very the thickness of the constitution. So when you put this in, and I'll do a little bit right now while I'm here. So it's like a yellow, like a brownish yellow when it comes out. But dude, it's so unbelievable. It's so thin. It's barely oil. It's like a pomade.
Yeah.
So it's like for women that have long hair or dudes that spike up their hair like mine, it literally, first off, it smells amazing.
Oh, nice.
And it's really, really thin. And it's just, like I said, it's the same shit that's in my hair right now that I already had in my hair. So it just literally functions as a product, and you don't have to use some garbage product that's ruining your hair follicles.
Right. It's ruining and causing endocrine disruption. So
I have so many big name people who use our product who literally say to me, dude, the best part of it, I mean, they know it works, but like the best part of it is that I don't have to use product anymore, because this is my finishing product. The B is. Nice. So a lot of women now that will they like to have that shiny luster to their hair. They're going to use this. Now, again, remember, scalp massage first, get it into the scalp. And then if you want to agitate it through your hair, but it feels amazing. Yeah, it absolutely feels amazing. And again, Nick is so brilliant. So that's that. Let me just try to think if there's anything else I want to say to be wary of. You won't get it on your pillows anymore because it's so thin. That used to be an issue if you oversaturate it. But again, 2 squirts. That's it. You don't need that much. And this is a small bottle, although it's full. And the sprayer is tiny. The nozzle is very small. So you're not going to spray that much in 2 sprays. You cannot overspray from these things, but of course you can spray 5 times.
Right.
Or 4 times. And I know a lot of people do that. I literally know a lot of people do that. They get all excited. They want to regrow it real fast. They know that their friend got results. But you said it best earlier, just use the minimum amount. Mm-hmm. Get it into the scalp and then take care of your body, to lower your inflammation, and you will get results. And, It's hard to say how fast. I literally saw significant regrowth in 21 days. It was actually between 17 and 21 days.
Yeah.
And now my hair is like, I don't even use this every day. I probably use this like once or twice a week now.
Yeah.
You know,
just for maintenance. That's
every
perfect.
day my hair would be a total mop.
You'd have like mine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would have all sorts of hair on top of my head. I mean, like I said, I'm cutting my hair like every 21 days, every 22 days. Friday will be 22 days.
Nice.
So, and I keep it really close on the side.
Very nice. Well, I think one thing that you said too, I don't know if you said it now or earlier, but I'm thinking about it. So a lot of my listeners are thyroid patients, right? And they have it in their mind that the one thyroid medication will do it. If I can get NDT, if I can get Armor, if I can get T3, if I can get Cytomel, that's going to do it. That's going to change my life. Everything's going to turn around. And it helps. It's one piece of the puzzle. And I say this all the time. I don't want you walking around with low thyroid hormone. I don't want you walking around with no T3 in your system.
Right.
But that's a piece of the puzzle. And then we have to do the both and.
Right.
We do have to look at your insulin. We have to look at your hormones. We have to clean up your diet. We got to get you sleeping. We have to get you with a mindset coach that's part of my program because as you know, that whole negative belief system, if that's cycling through all the time, you're not going to get well. So this is the same thing. This is one key piece of the puzzle that maybe all of those behavioral changes like eating well and sleeping and exercising aren't working without that last key. But once you add that last key, look the hell out.
Totally.
And then here we go. And I feel like this is that last key, that one thing that's going to make everything else, all those other behaviors that you're doing, all that other work that you're putting into your life and changing and optimizing, that's going to make that one thing change for you. And especially with your hair. Especially
100%. And I like where you went with that. Cause when I talk to people now, and obviously the physicians that I recommend, it's a triune, right? You just said it too. It's not just your thyroid, if that's what you're looking at. It's obviously your hormones, your endocrine system. And then you said the magic word, the insulin, right? Like if you're not treating the pancreas, if you're not balancing and optimizing that all three, right? The thyroid, testosterone, estrogen, estradiol, and of course, insulin. Because dude, if your insulin is out of control, your blood sugar and your circulating insulin is just a mess, you can't be optimized through thyroid or hormones. You're never going to be, you're so inflamed and you're so up and down, you can't ever achieve balance. So it's so cool that you know that. So, I always say the same thing, like, if you're going to go in and you're going to get truly optimized, you're going to be obviously on some combination of test, estrogen and progesterone for women, testosterone, hopefully in isolation for men with the caveat being if I want to have kids, I've got to use a low dose of HCG, thyroid optimization, you said it. I like the desiccated because it hits T1, T2, T3, 4, and then metformin. Yeah. And again, and I know you're a big proponent of that too, but I mean, think about how many doctors miss out on that. And by the way, I got to send this to you. This came to me yesterday.
Yeah.
There is a massive study that just came out that is, oh man, there's like 500 people in the patient cohort. And by the way, they're healthy, if you can believe it. They actually did a study on healthy people.
Go figure.
Dude, it's on using human growth hormone, genotropin, with metformin, and it is mind-blowing. And of course, the person that sent it to me is a clinician, and he was like, well, once again, you were right about metformin, but they now know that metformin doesn't lower IGF-1. It increases IGF-1.
Right. Well, it changes the gut. It lowers your insulin. It protects your brain. On and on.
How many times have we heard Dr. Peter, that's all I will say, I won't say his last name, go after people like myself, talking about how metformin lowers mTOR, metformin lowers IGF-1, and now it's like the opposite.
Right.
So it's, again, and I'm not disparaging people, but it's like, dude, like, we don't even understand half the things that metformin does.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful adjunct to living an extended life.
Yeah.
That, like, why would you not take it? Now, granted, I know that if, you're a pro strong man, or shot putter or someone, and you need maximum glucose and force output and force production, then yeah, go off of metformin before your last meet. But
right.
It just does so many amazing things, and I'm still mind blown at how many doctors do not write scripts for metformin. It's nuts.
Yep. And I love
Are they just afraid again of the state medical licensing boards, them seeing that they're on metformin and they're not diabetic? I mean, I don't understand it. I've never have.
That's it. That's 100% it. That's it. And because, well, in the medical system too, even so I'm on metformin. I'm not diabetic. So I get this little pop-up that says, we see that you're on metformin. You might want to talk to your doctor about a statin because you must be diabetic and therefore you must have high cholesterol and you must need a statin.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
I remember that game. I remember the game of like 5 years ago that my buddy was doing because he was doing the actuary and the life insurance things. And it's like, if you tell anybody in life insurance that you take drugs to extend your life, they will literally destroy you.
Yeah.
You will be given an F rating. What do you use metformin for? Oh, just so I can live to 150. Yeah, right. Like, you can't tell them that. You're on testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have, testicular failure?
Exactly. So since you mentioned testosterone, and I would love to go down the metformin rabbit hole. We can do a whole other podcast on that because it does heal your gut, folks. It heals your gut.
It increases akkermansia.
Akkermansia. Good. Yes. I know. I see that on the GI map all the time. I see low akkermansia. I'm like, you have metabolic syndrome.
Exactly.
Like you just do. But no. So with the testosterone, so I'm coming back to the DHT. We know that DHT actually promotes hair growth. So this was in part 1 that you released on Ved's website. Yep. We know that, and this is great though, when you think about the body hair paradox, DHT promotes hair growth on the body, but we want to block it on the hair. That it just doesn't even make sense. So talk about that.
It's just big pharma. I mean, again, I always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, Amie, I don't want to get my tinfoil hat on too bad here. Maybe we'll do another podcast about that. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, when we all find out like what and who big pharma really represents, it'll be like, oh, now we know.
Yeah.
Oh, now we know why it was that way. Because almost everything is the opposite. Literally the opposite. But again, if you were going to torture men and women and drain them financially and keep them on this, minimally effective adjuvant, like, Propecia, finasteride, dutasteride, prescription minoxidil. Yep. They got it covered. They're like, I mean, again, like, they're balling, man. They're like, we need to emulate that. Like, how do you do that so well and yet still fuck people over? It's insane. Yeah. They're masters of it.
Just live in the George Costanza world of the opposite. Just do the opposite. If it's in medicine, do the opposite.
It's insane. It's literally insane. It's, exactly. I still like, we have to say this, like, I still have so many friends. They won't care. They won't read the article. Nah, bro. I use 2.5 milligrams a day. If I don't, my hair will fall out. And you know what, Amie? They're right. Because they've been on it for 20 years. Yeah. Some guy wrote a comment today on the blog. It was a great comment. I haven't responded to it yet. I will. But that's what he said. He goes, okay, bro. I buy your theory. I buy the logic. But what am I supposed to do? I've been on it for 22 years. I don't know. Hopefully if you come off because you value your life more than you do your hair, then you'll have some active follicles and you can use Oxano and red light and all these other things that we can talk about, to regrow it. But it is a good point. I don't know, Amie. All of their hair may fall out. Yeah. And you know what? If it happens, guess what? You chose that route. You decided to go down the big pharma rabbit hole and you were on it for 22 years. The other thing, and somebody brought this up with me yesterday, and we can even do this. We're going to have to create a strategy of, titrating off of DHT inhibitors.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we don't even know what it's going to do. Right. I mean, they know that when you come off, it kills the hair follicle. Right. But how bad will it be? How bad will a 22-year guy, how bad will his hair loss be when he comes off DHT? Right. That's true. Yeah. But I mean, again, the question is it worth shortening your lifespan? Because we both know And I hope those people now know that the article proves it. You have already committed to shortening your lifespan. You don't know how it's going to manifest.
Right.
But you have done many things wrong. You have screwed up your brain. I mean, by the way, how many of those people are going to get neurodegenerative disorder?
Yeah. Big time.
I mean, think about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's becoming more prevalent anyways with high insulin levels. So, I mean, yeah, I think
whenever you screw, and you know this from SSRIs, whenever you screw with the dopaminergic, the synaptic, the dendritic, and of course the serotonergic pathways, you are fucking up.
Yep.
Very intricate creation of God.
Yep.
And we do not know what that does. And you know that a lot of people who have been on SSRIs now for 2 decades are a mess, are literally walking, ticking time bombs. I mean, I have those people in my family. I don't even talk to them.
Yeah, and they can't come off of it. Same thing with the DHT block. I mean, you can't come off of it because you're going to crash, and you're going to crash hard.
So that is an important question that we brought up on this podcast, and that is going to have to be surfaced at some point. Like, what is the withdrawal method? Because now all these people are going to, they're going to watch this podcast, and if they have any rationality, they're going to be like, shit, what do I do? So we'll come up with a solution. We're going to have to figure that out, but I don't think that any of us really know.
No, true. I mean, logic would say just do a crossover method. Just start using Oxano, keep using your drugs, and just titrate off while, kind of layering one on top of the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the problem is, and Nick is smarter than me in talking about this, is that how much damage have you done to the active and the dormant follicles by having DHT in your, by cutting off the DHT? Because again, I mean, DHT is such an important, process. I mean, to inhibit it is just insanity.
It's insane. I mean, you need androgens for everything. You need them for everything. It's crazy. It really is. I want to read this stat too with the hair loss in females. This was part of that study, a 2012 study where androgen deficient females with thinning hair were treated with testosterone for 1 year. The researchers were surprised to find that out of the 285 patients, 27%, reported hair thinning prior to treatment. 48 of these patients, 63%, reported hair regrowth on testosterone therapy.
Right. Exactly.
So why would you lower testosterone? Why would you block DHT?
Insane.
If someone is losing their hair, you want to do the opposite.
It's absolutely insane. Let's just go back to what you said a little earlier. It's the same shit with statins.
Yeah. It's
a money game. It was a giant profitable pipeline. And as you know, and I've had these conversations not on the air, you're courageous enough to come and talk on this like we're doing, but most of these people know, dude, they're not stupid. They went to fucking med school. They're not dumb, but they're getting paid.
Yeah.
This is a significant income stream. They have to pay their mortgages, put their kids through college, pay the second home mortgage. I mean, this is the world we live in.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, is the health of the patient subservient to the slavery that they are now addicted to with the sick care medical system and the insurance billing?
Right.
Because we both know, hey, DHT, that's covered.
Yeah.
That's covered. Here's the code.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that can span from products, treatment, to the actual practitioner. I speak on this all the time. If you think you're going to swing a dead cat in your hometown and hit a practitioner that is going to spend more than 5 minutes with you because they can't bill for more than 5 minutes.
Exactly.
If they're going to give a shit about your labs, whether they're optimal or not. Oh, are you in the normal? Yep. There's no H. There's no.
I was about to say, they can't even read your labs.
Yeah. They don't have time to read your labs. So you're going to pay out of pocket. You're going to pay out of pocket for treatment that works. It's not going to be covered by insurance. Metformin will be, but
this is how simple it is. If you cannot afford $5,000 to $10,000 a year minimum on your health, your priorities are out of whack.
Yeah.
You do not understand anything. I don't care if you're a fireman, a teacher, and you make less than $45,000, $50,000 a year. You still have it. Stop the lattes. Stop the fast food. Stop the beer. Whatever it is that you spend your money on needlessly and frivolously, and spend your money on a cash pay, clinician who can save your fucking life. I mean, and you can always go the inverse, right? The amortization table. I mean, what does it cost when you don't have your health?
Oh God. Yeah. And the copays and the drug copays and the visit copays and then the lost wages from staying home because you feel like shit and then on and on. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I say this all the time. I'll say it to you too. And you already are probably the same way. Like, I wouldn't go to a doctor other than people like you unless I was bleeding out and dying.
Right.
What are they going to do? Well, I've done podcasts with people with the whole, colonoscopy bullshit, pap smears. I mean, it's like, so you're saying it's not cancerous? Well, it might be.
Yeah.
But what do you recommend? Well, we recommend that, you cut it out because that's how we make money.
Right. Or take a chemo drug because that's how you make money. Yeah, exactly. No, I was just having this conversation yesterday with someone. When I was first diagnosed with my thyroid problem, misdiagnosed 6 different times by 6 different doctors. And this is back when I was competing. I was getting ready for a show and I was putting on weight instead of losing weight. I was maybe 22, I don't know, 23.
Yeah.
I found a functional medicine practitioner. I was making $300 a week. I found the money to go see him. I don't know what I gave up. I don't remember, but I freaking found the money.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. If you want it bad enough.
It's always findable, dude. Again, how bad do you want to succeed in your life? It's that simple.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Do you have any idea how many times I told you that at the beginning of the show when they emailed me and they're like, but my copay is only delete. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Talking to the wrong person.
Wrong person. Exactly. So this is, this product, I'm just so, I'm speechless. I'm so pumped up about anything peptide related. I'm pumped up that you've put it in the consumer space, in the consumer's hands, where we don't have to find a doctor that'll write a script, doesn't know how to do the calculations on the formula, on the reconstitution and all that.
You don't have to sign an affidavit from a research chemical company that says you're using this on your ferret.
Exactly. So I'm so excited. This product has been out, but it hasn't been verbally out like it should be.
This is it. We launched in November of 2019 and I was just playing around with my email list and we did everything possibly wrong. And then, Ben promoted us. And by the way, Ben's great. He he never tells you. I sent it to him. We were already friends, obviously. And he started using it. And then one day out of the moon, he's like, hey, bro. He's like, my wife loves your shit. Can you send me more? And I was like, yeah, sure, bro. And then literally 3 weeks later, he promoted this and the rest is history. But yeah, this is new. Just so your listeners know. So the serum, because, they definitely want this stuff too. So this is the serum. You have this. So this is the serum Royal Blue Serum, which is the water-based of GHK. And then this is Sky Blue Cream, which is the oil-based. And it's not oil, but it's goat's milk, right? So it's a moisturizer. So it's a cream versus a serum. So we sell them separately, but we recommend that you use them in combination because they are synergistic. Okay. So how this works is you put the water-based serum on first, and I won't do it, but it's just an applicator. You put it in your hand. Like you said, small, tiny drops. This absolutely will last 60 days unless you're a fiend. Okay. And you're just slopping it on your face, but it feels so unbelievable. Like when you have GHKCU on your face, it's literally immediately going into the cellular matrix and regenerating the cells. Okay. So it feels great. It doesn't have an oil feeling or like a sticky, you've used, I'm sure, numerous stuff on your face. Oh, yeah. This is just different. And everyone says the same thing when you use it. You then, if you really want to, steroid this out, you instantly go and put red light on your face. So my wife has a video, you can link to it, where, we've edited it, where she just puts on and literally just does 45 seconds on both sides of her face.
Okay. That's it. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. You can do it. You can do it longer. If you want to do 2 or 3 minutes, but she, does 45 seconds on each side. She's just like that. And then she goes like that, and then she goes and then, she puts this on and then this is your moisturizer. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you can absolutely put sun stuff over, but you don't have to because it functions as a sunblock.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, look, I don't want to sound like an idiot. If you're going to go out in the sun in tropical, location for 3 hours, don't just rely on this. But walking around on the streets during the day, this is a perfect, sunblock. In fact, at some point next year, when we're at contract manufacturing, we got like 6 or 7 products in the marketplace, we will develop a cream that will be a full body sun conditioner.
Oh,
Because
yes.
GHKCU has, and there's a ton of research on this, it has this amazing ability to also block like up to 98% of the harmful UV rays of the sun. Incredible, right? So, but that's how you would use that. And, you know, some women do use this twice a day. I don't use it twice a day. I mean, I barely use anything on my face, but my wife does put this on all the time.
I'll probably use it twice a day. Yeah.
Yeah. She uses it definitely when she wakes up and definitely at night. But, you know, if you're just using it twice a day, you should be able to get at least 45 days out of this. Okay.
Listen,
Again,
the price point is great when you compare.
no, I mean, for what you get, every woman that I know who has mentioned this to me has thrown away their other shit.
Yeah.
That's how good this stuff is. And again, I wish that we could say that like, wow, we just created the greatest thing. It's just copper peptide GHKCU. It's like you said, we put the world of peptide, cosmeceutical performance technology into the hands of the consumer in a way that is legal. Right. It's not a clinical level. Now, you know, let's talk about that. It's a 3% grade of GHKCU. There is nothing anywhere that has that level. Now, again, due to Nick's working in big pharma and being in the auditory world for 20 plus years, he knows what we can get away with, and he knows that what you can use that's not considered clinical. Mm-hmm. And this is not clinical. So anyone can use this, like you said, and it's just totally easy to apply. It's topical. You don't need an agitator for the skin. You know, it just, you know, it's simple, right? It's like you said already, it's like there's no user error, just wiping it until it's not there. Right. Now, it does have a small like purple tinge, especially the moisturizer after, but after about 15 minutes, it's completely absorbed and you can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, so don't freak out if your skin's a little purple.
No, but well, some people, depending on your melanin level, some people will hold it a little bit more purple for probably like between 15 and 30 minutes.
Okay.
But anybody, it goes in. My wife's is gone in 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
You haven't put it on yet at all, right?
No, I'm waiting. It should be here tomorrow. Literally, it went, awesome. I heard you, divine intervention. I placed an order. I contacted you. We talked. We scheduled this ASAP because I wanted to get this out as soon as possible to the world. Awesome. So I could have waited till I got the product and then tried it. But I'm sorry. I have faith. I knew it's that gut feeling thing. It's
I got you.
That still small voice thing where you just go, I just know.
Yep. Like, it's your intuition. Yeah, it's your intuition. And honestly, Amie, I appreciate you. I love you for saying that. That's amazing. And you will feel good to have known that your intuition is 100% accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think you have to listen to your gut a little bit more. You know, I think we all do.
Everybody does. But you know what? It's funny that you say that because think about this. If you have poor gut health, if you're dysbiotic, how the fuck can you listen to your gut?
Yeah, that's so true. Oh my God.
Nobody ever talks about that.
No.
But if you are literally inflamed and dysbiotic and God knows what is growing pathologically in your stomach, how the hell do you have intuition that you can rely on? You don't.
Right. Which then would go back to, you also don't have proper circulation to your hair follicle. No, because your gut's all a mess and your circulation.
Well, you know, and we know now that the gut brain is just as smart and just as important as this brain.
Yep.
You know,
it is.
What regulates your health more than your gut?
I know. It's so true.
Nothing.
So true.
Nothing. Yep. You can't, all these toxins that we're breathing and that they're spraying in the air and everywhere we walk, like if you don't have a strong, healthy gut, you're just weighed down and you have no energy.
Right.
You know, a lot of it's vibration, right? Like if your gut is inflamed and you're obviously, you know, whether you're obese or metabolically dysregulated, it's usually hand in hand. I mean, how are you going to raise your vibration when you're in total pain?
Right. Well, that's why, I mean, I see candida, I see dysbiosis, and then that goes along with anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. So then we give an SSRI to calm the anxiety and depression, which then destroys the gut. So, I mean, it's just a cyclical, it's just horrible. But this is the whole both and theory. This is why you can't just use your product and eat McDonald's and destroy your gut. You can't just heal your gut and cross your fingers and hope that your hair grows. Like you have to do everything together.
That's totally right. I'm glad you said that because we should definitely not end without telling people that like, okay, you get results for your hair. You know, you're a woman, you know, Amie fixes your thyroid and your hormone balancing. You're optimized. Now you're using Oxano. You got all this regrowth.
Yeah.
You can't go back to the previous lifestyle.
Right.
Well, I mean, dude, we have to say it because it's like the lowest common denominator now today. You know, I don't know why people think that like, oh, you fix it and it's good forever. No, it's a lifestyle. You still have to live a low inflammation lifestyle, and you can't go back to the way you were before because you're going to get the same results.
Right.
I will say this because I want people to understand this. Your hair is not going to fall out like if you stop taking minoxidil. Do you know how many men have emailed me in the last week since the podcast ran saying, dude, I get it. I get the science. I bought it. Please don't tell me that you're going to make me stay on it forever. And I'm like, no, dude, it works through improving the health of your scalp and your hair follicles. So clean up your act and you'll hold on to whatever you gain.
Right.
But so many people are living so inflamed, you know? So it's like, what are you going to do? And, you know, I didn't tell you this, and we should say this. I should mention this because if people go on the website and they read the reviews are either, oh my God, I regrew my hair. This is insane. Or it's like, you rip me off. You scam me. I want my money back. And those are the people. And again, I take full responsibility. Nick and I take full responsibility, but those are the people who want easy buttons. Those are the fat people, the sick people, the dysregulated people who literally want the magic bullet.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you automatically know the type of people, right? Because they automatically, when they go to this is so expensive, you're like, oh, sure it is, bro. You know what I mean? Like expensive. People spend $60,000 on hair transplants that fail in 4 years.
Do they really? Do hair transplants fail?
Do you know how many people who get hair transplants where they surgically implant them, the hair around the edges fails due to the trauma of the graft?
Oh my God. Okay.
You have no idea. I know so much about this. I've studied this so deeply, and I have so many friends that have done this, and so many of my friends that like, you know, who see this now are like, you motherfucker, why couldn't you have done this 5 years ago, you know, or 4 years ago? Why did you invent this then? But yeah, no, hair transplants and grafts, that's the dark, dirty secret that you don't hear about, because they do work well and they're amazing. And the technology from 10 years ago to now is like night and day.
Yeah.
But the tissue around where the graft is implanted is what fails over time. And anybody that's had grafts will tell you that, yeah, the plug areas, they fail. And so you have this like icky, it's a mess.
Okay. Yeah.
And you have to come back and they have to continually like, it's just over and over. We talk about that in part 2 of the article. You'll read about that.
Okay, good. I'll do a little highlight.
That's a horrible, you know, underbelly of expensive procedures.
Oh God, that's horrible. It's so expensive.
Well, so a lot of those guys now are asking me, that's what they ask me now. Oh, will it fix where my graft fails? Where my plug fails, or will it grow the hair right there? Because they already know that the only option, you know, previous to Oxano, and we don't know if it will, because obviously that tissue, the underlying tissue has been damaged from the graft. That's why usually it's surgical. They got to go back in and do it again.
Right.
But maybe it will. I just, you know, for the people watching this that hear this, that have had that issue, I don't know the answer to that. You know, as we get more and more feedback from people that are now doing that. I do have a really well-to-do friend in Thailand who is now experimenting with it. He took him 3 months to get the product in Thailand, dude.
Oh, wow.
So some countries, let's talk about that. So we cannot ship to Scandinavia. They absolutely block this product. I mean, it's draconian there. We can get it into Australia. We get it into the EU. We do get it into the EU. We have no problem with UK. But it's important, and it's on the website, of course, under our shipping policy. Since COVID, dude, they're charging insane duties and customs fees that we have absolutely no control over. So we will get it to you because we only use FedEx, and we use Priority International, FedEx Priority International. So that is guaranteed 5 days anywhere in the world. However, you may get a bill a week later from your customs, you know, saying, hey, Dan, this is your duty fees. Amie, it is outrageous. since COVID, what they're doing with international shipping is just the biggest scam. But there's nothing we can do about it. You know, we've had people send us emails saying, you scammed me. How could you do this to me? And we're like, dude, it has nothing to do with us.
Yeah,
it's your country.
We didn't get that money. We didn't get your shipping
It's
money.
your country. It's your country. But I mean, I always disclaim this now because like we have no control over this. And I'm telling you, we've had some very pissed off customers. You know, they want to come back and they'll be like, why would you have told them that it was only $100? And we're like, because you told them the truth and you bought $600 worth of product.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyway, I say that now because if you are an international, you know, audience or fan of Amie's and you are buying this, you are going to get hit with some sort of a customs tariff, and we have zero control over any of that.
Yeah, no, I do have a lot of listeners in the UK and Australia, so I hope they try it. But so they know
huge Australia. We're the same way. Again, that's how we're so connected. We have tons of Australian customers too.
Yeah.
And there's no issue with Australia. We actually originally had an issue with Australia because the serum, this product had DMAE bitartrate, which is not a harmful contaminant or chemical. It's a stability molecule.
Right.
And Australia has some bug up their ass about that stability molecule.
Yeah.
So we created a secondary removing it. It's the same stuff. We just removed that.
Okay.
But if you're in Australia, you get the kind that doesn't have DMAE in it, whereas everybody else gets the DMAE in it. But it has no separate, it doesn't differentiate the solution at all. It's the same product.
But you know what? That's one of the reasons why I really was attracted to your product and how you explain how it works, because you're not offering a quick fix. You're not offering the one and done, you know, real salesy, just do this. And then it is a process, and you have to tell people it's a process, and you have to do these other things. And that's what drew me to you guys, because I'm like, yes, that means it'll work.
Right. Yeah, we're no bullshit, pure transparency. And I appreciate that you noticed that. And honestly, you know, I fall on my sword, and I fully admit that we made a mistake not telling people from the beginning that this was not an easy button / you know, holy grail, you know, exercise in a bottle, regrow your hair. You know, you remember when you and I were growing up, Ron Popey, where he had the spray on hair. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes.
He died of a cocaine overdose. Go figure. But it's not that. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you do the things that you and I recommend every day of our lives, and you live that lifestyle, and then you put on Oxano doing the other things. And again, you know, just to reiterate, because I didn't go deeper, red light and Oxano are enough. If you want to get crazy, you can take and drink deuterium depleted water, because deuterium depleted water massively upregulates mitochondrial function. It's extremely expensive, and you're not even going to get it in Australia. But you can also take, you know, mitochondrial stimulator supplements over the counter. Is it going to do that much more? No. If you're inflamed, it will help, you know, obviously with your lifestyle. And then of course, metformin or dihydroberberine, because again, both of those are going to massively suppress circulating insulin. And now we know too, and that's in the article, part 1 and part 2, metformin upregulates mitochondrial function. It doesn't damage mitochondrial function, which so many people have attacked me about because they can't interpret the research, right? There was one study done in obese diabetic women who took 8 grams of metformin a day.
Okay.
It caused mitochondrial dysfunction. Well, no shit.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Who would take 8 grams of metformin in a day?
That's a lot.
So,
yeah. That's a lot. Well,
that's
even if you took too much vitamin C, you're going to have diarrhea. So guess what? That's an adverse reaction too. Go figure.
The difference between a pill and a poison is the dosage.
Is the dose.
Always.
Yep. Exactly. Well, anything else you wanted to touch on? We've talked about so much, but it all kind of fits together. So I love it. Anything?
I mean, I think you're doing an amazing job. You know, you're one of the few people that understands the triune of testosterone, thyroid, or, you know, hormones, thyroid, and insulin. I mean, very few people understand that. So that's awesome that you're doing that. Not really. I mean, I think that if you and I want to do a deeper dive on like hormones and like just, you know, laughing at sick care and talking about all the nonsense that you and I have seen over the time, we could probably do it. But I mean, I think I pretty much covered Oxano. Let me just say that what's coming, which is going to be amazing for women, And literally by the end of July, we're going to have a brow and a lash serum.
Oh,
So,
and didn't you do something for lips too?
yeah, we have Oxano lip coming too.
Yay.
We're hitting all the hot buttons for chicas, but I don't know when the lip is coming, but the lip is so I'll just break it. So lip and ageless. So Oxano ageless, and I shit you not on this. We're working on the patent on this right now. It will be stronger or as strong at a minimum as Botox with zero neurotoxicity.
It's amazing. I love it.
So it's going to be a very pentapeptide powerful formulation for, again, just topical that will just completely wipe out fine lines and wrinkles. Again, my wife will be having that supposedly by second week of July to test that. And, she's a little excited about that. Yeah. So, so, I mean, as soon as I have that, I'll do the same thing, because when we're at the CMO by the end of July, we'll have samples. And so I'll just send you samples.
That'd be beautiful. And then the lash, talk about the lash too, because the products that I've used, and I won't name names,
are garbage. They have acid in them.
They cause dark circles.
They have acid in them.
Oh, good times.
Nick and I have pretty much tested. We won't name names, but Nick and I have tested almost everything, and literally almost all of the brow and lash stuff on the market, including the ones that say they have peptide bases in them.
Right.
They have acid in them. Acid. So dark circles. Now you know why.
Now I know why.
It's all marketing.
It is.
It's just a scam. Women go on Instagram and they see, click here, one button checkout. And it's like, every colorful peptide, charts, pretty girls, bushy lashes. I mean, it's just such a scam. And I mean, Nick and I are obviously smarter than the average Joe when it comes to looking at formulations. But I mean, even a dumbass could just read the products and what are the particulates and the constituents and the ingredients, and you'd be like, what am I putting on my face?
Right. Near my eyes.
It's insane. I mean, there is a competitor to us that is killing us in sales. And when we started looking at their products about 6 months ago, Amie, I about had a heart attack and fell on the ground. I was like, this is like putting lint and chalk in a tube and selling it to women and saying it works to grow your hair. To grow your lashes.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it is. And if I showed you the numbers of what they're doing, it's just insane. But again, there's a perfect example that people fall for marketing.
Yep.
Not for the product. They just pay for the shiny, colorful, one-click checkout on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. They do. You got to look deeper though, folks. You got to I know we're in an age of technology, but we got to pull our brains out of their little like closed containers every once in a while and actually use them and say, am I buying something just because it's pretty marketing? Do you really think that before and after picture is real? Or do you think it's been Photoshopped? Since you can Photoshop anything on your iPhone, I'm pretty sure they can do a really great job at before and after pictures online.
Imagine if they actually tested the products that they were buying. Because as you know, there's zero regulation. And look, we will take the Pepsi challenge all day long because obviously I'm now in an industry that I have been in previously before that I got out of because of the lack of regulation. And I also knew that the manufacturers of most supplements could scam you on any given day. You create a nootropic and you look at all of the qualities or all of the grades of ingredient and it grades out at 99.8. And then that's your first batch. And then maybe 90 days later, if you don't do that test again and you just start relying on that manufacturer to say, hey, it's the same quality, that's what they do. And the game is ugly. And there's so much fraud and just wanton deception in the supplement industry that I literally got out. So here I am now back in, and I can tell everybody who's watching the show, no bullshit. I speak from pure authenticity and transparency. The manufacturer of our product is us. Other than the pharmaceutical grade GHKCU, we are not relying on anything. Nick and I are about creating the golden age. We do not put bullshit in our product. There is all real If somebody went into my Shopify and they looked at our customer retention, it's 56%. We are almost 2.5 times the standard in the cosmetic industry. The average cosmetic company has 24.5% retention. So we are almost at 60. Because I say, when you put our products on your face or in your hair, you know what's up.
You know, yeah. Yeah,
you
exactly.
can instantly know that, like, oh, you know, that's why nobody complains. You know, we charge $120 for the skin and serum stuff. I mean, obviously we do discounts all the time and people get them in bundles for like $70. I mean, 70 per bottle, which saves 50. And then, you know, you can get Oxano for like on a deal, like 170. It's normally 249. But I mean, like, you know, our shit costs. There's not lint in our stuff. You know, we're not selling the typical supplement that costs $1.20 to manufacture. Like our shit actually costs money to make because it has 3% grade of the most profound peptide on planet Earth.
Right. And 97% love from you guys. Because I've said that for years. I have said that from when I was in the whole bodybuilding supplement world in my 20s. You want to buy from a supplement company that's owned by a guy, not a corporation, not Nestle or Bayer, you know, or Amway now is buying out supplement companies. Like you want to buy it from a guy. And sometimes those guys sold out and sometimes they didn't.
Right.
But there was always higher quality when it stayed in like a family kind of structure where it was run by people who actually gave a shit.
I promise you, we are not in this. This company is $1 billion potential company. We already know that. You know, we've got, as I call them, the vultures, the VCs are circling us like hawks, like chicken hawks.
Yeah.
And we've said absolutely no. Nope, we're not in it for that. We're in it to help as many people as we possibly can. When we get to the point where it's like, you know what, we've done it. We've created products now that they can't screw up. You know, they can charge people or rip them off or do any of that. But if it just got to the point where it's like too much stress on our families, we'll probably like either sell it or go and start something else. But we will never, ever, our moral principles will never, ever be touched. It is always about how do we serve humanity or creation at our highest and best in a way that is accessible. It's not going to be like, I mean, again, when people say, dude, your products are outrageous from a price standpoint, it's because they've been buying minoxidil.
Yeah, exactly.
With their hair falling out.
Right.
Right? Like you get what you pay for, right? Like if you use a Sears Oxano, it's a 90-day supply for $250, not discounted. So in reality, when most people buy it discounted, they're paying $75 a month.
Yeah.
Amie, to regrow their hair. That's not expensive. Give me a break.
That's nothing. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Do the math on a hair transplant.
Right.
How much money do people pay to Big Pharma to have a lifetime supply of Propecia?
Right. Right.
I mean, it's not expensive and it works.
And my ladies are spending $300 every 6 weeks for their hydration treatments and all these treatments to maybe plump the hair follicle to make it look like you have more hair.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah, so you'll have, we didn't mention there's also going to be a beard formula, but all the new stuff is going to be way cheaper price stuff. Like the eyelash serum stuff will probably be somewhere between $41.99 and $49.99, depending on the size. We don't know the size of the vial yet.
Yeah.
The beard stuff will be $30. Now Oxano ageless, depending on the size, if you buy a bulk supply of it, it's going to be expensive. I mean, when I say expensive, it's relevant to Botox.
Right.
But it'll probably be, I think a bulk container of it will be $4.99, but that'll probably last you for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So cheap.
I mean, come on, that's not expensive. How much money? I don't even know. My wife used to do it, but how much money is Botox now? What is Botox a unit?
Yeah. I mean, no, your cheap end is $10 a unit. More expensive is probably 15, 17 a unit.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And what is a normal procedure for Botox now in the face? Like
yeah, about 500. Yeah. If you're doing
between 3 and 5.
Forehead and eyes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be around the same cost, but it'll be literally a 6-month supply.
Right.
You know, you'll put it on like twice a week.
That's amazing.
You know, maybe it'll be once a week. I don't know, but I just know that, based on what Nick's told me, and we haven't used it yet, but he's like, based on what this is, dude, he's like, it'll be a game changer.
I can't wait.
And no neurotoxicity.
It's crazy.
So that's the best part. Yeah.
And you can get used to Botox too. So you can actually develop antibodies to Botox. So the less you can use for a longer period of time, the better. So if you don't have to use it at all by using Ageless, then why not?
And by the way, do you know too that, I'm glad you said that, you know that injectable peptides also develop antibodies?
Do they really? I didn't know that. Oh.
They do. I mean, it depends on how long you're using them, but that's why, I always tell people that you can never use a peptide cycle for longer than 10 weeks. And this is all age related too. My copywriter and I are writing now like the be all end all of the earth on using human growth hormone for every application, because again, that's also very misunderstood. Most growth hormone on the planet is garbage.
It is, yeah.
But you can get, if you can get nortotropin or genotropin and it's not fake and counterfeited, it's amazing stuff. But again, dosage, the pill and the poison, you have to understand how to use growth hormone so that you don't create tumor formation if you have a genetic predisposition to cancer.
Right.
And then you also have to do it to avoid gestational diabetes, which a lot of people don't understand how to do that.
Right.
If you've been using growth hormone for a long time, and again, as you know, the Cenogenics people, the Life Extension Foundation, a lot of those people have been recommending growth hormone for decades.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those users have diabetes.
Right.
Right. I'm talking about like very wealthy people who have been using low dose of human growth hormone, were never doing it right. They weren't using metformin while they were taking growth hormone.
Mm-hmm.
And they were using growth hormone at a dosage that was causing diabetes. And so now, like that study, which I'm going to send you, is when do you read the study? It's like, holy shit.
I love
but it's really, really cool because, this article is going to break down everybody, right? Like we're going to even talk about the bodybuilding bro world. We're going to go like deep into like what are guys really using in growth hormone and insulin to like get that muscle cartoon look.
Yeah.
Right. And then what does a 50-year-old man or woman who wants to look great into their 70s and 80s, what would they do with growth hormone? And then we're going to compare peptides versus growth hormone, because here's something that you and I should talk about before we end.
Yeah.
And this is not talked about. At what age does a man or woman not have enough naturally produced IGF-1 to even make peptides functional? Nobody talks about that.
Okay.
But think about that. So if you're 66 and you're not getting your IGF-1 levels measured, and you're going to an age management, life extension, functional medicine doctor who knows their shit, guy or girl, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they're writing you a script for blank peptide, it's worthless if you have no IGF-1. And who's talking about that?
No one.
Very few.
No one.
Exactly. So to go down that path, at what point does an aging man or woman have to screw the peptides and go to growth hormone?
Go to the real. Yeah. So what age is that?
There's no way to know. You got to get your IGF-1 pulled.
Just test it. Yeah.
Absolutely no gradient or qualifications. I've seen IGF-1 levels. Well, you're going to laugh at this. Your DNA through Ancestry or 23andMe, and yes, I know there's risks even having that, because you don't want the black helicopter to show up at your house one night if you got the wrong genes. And then you go
right.
But in truth, the more Neanderthal DNA you have, the higher IGF-1 levels you're going to have. And again, not talked about. Dr. Jay talks a lot about this.
Yeah.
But
yep.
The reality is that most, again, this is a criteria gradient, you may or may vary. I would say that most adult men and women of Northern European ancestry are going to have almost no circulating IGF-1 level by 63 to 65.
Yeah. I test
now, again, there will be exceptions. There's going to be exceptions, but there are very few people out there talking about this. And I have a lot of older clients who are always, asking me like, hey dude, I want to use this peptide. And then, it's like, well, fuck dude, you're going to have to get your IGF-1 levels measured, because I don't want you to tell you to take testosterone, even if you can get it, if you don't have anything. It's not going to do shit. If you don't have any IGF-1, how is a peptide going to stimulate? Nothing. Right? Because all it's doing is stimulating your natural pulsatile release.
Right.
If you've got nothing, it ain't going to do anything.
You're just wasting your money.
Right.
Yeah.
So IGF-1, the only way you're going to stimulate that is with actual exogenous human growth hormone, which again has a bad rap. A really bad rap because it's never really been understood. There hasn't been a lot of research done on it. Believe me, it's prescribed all over the place in, elite wealthy circles.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't talk about it in mainstream medicine enough, and it needs to be talked about. And I obviously have a lot of experience from being in the bro world, like you, in my late 20s and my early 30s, talking to guys that were using growth hormone. But let's face it, the growth hormone they were using, Amie, was shit.
It was fake. Well, that's why I got away from it. Because it was just crap.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Half of it was definitely fake, but even the shit that was like somewhat real, this Chinese growth hormone, I mean, let's not even talk about that, but I mean, let's face it. You compare that shit to genotropin or norditropin, the real stuff, it's like child's play.
I probably never even took the real stuff. It was probably all fake because I can't say I ever had like an aha moment.
I used for 6 months of my life, and I'm very open about this. I've done podcasts about this. For 6 months of my life, at 33, I used Blue Top, Gintropin, Chinese shit.
Yep.
And whether or not it was real or not, who knows? This is a long time ago, but I did have what I call old man syndrome, the carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
So it clearly was doing something, but dude, for what I paid and what I got, I sold nothing.
Same experience. Same.
Now, I have friends now who are using genotropin, right? The Israeli stuff, the stuff made in Israel. And they're like, dude, this is the nectar of the gods. Like, you cannot even imagine what 2IUs does to your body, right? Now, again, if you read the research, which is, again, limited other than from the pharmaceutical manufacturers. And remember, most of the research on growth hormone is in kids who have, Marfans and, pediatric, situations where they're literally stunted in their growth.
Yeah.
So they're not doing research on people like you and me, aging people. But it's pretty unbelievable when you look at the clinical literature about what growth hormone does to visceral body fat, what it does to, free fatty acids, glycerol. I mean, it's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
My question would always be, and this probably, maybe you don't, but like water can't test for growth hormone.
Right.
So they've never, ever been able to know who's using growth hormone and who isn't. So what pro athletes are using genotropin and norditropin? And again, then my next question beyond that is what are they using beyond those two things, right? Because there's always somebody out there creating shit that's even off the radar and off the grid that people don't know about.
Right.
But again, I have friends that say genotropin is literally the nectar of the gods.
Okay.
So at some point, once we write this article, and I'll interview some of these people, and obviously they'll remain anonymous. I'll have much more anecdotal information from these people who have been using it. But evidently, genotropin from Israel has been available. It's Pfizer, but Pfizer overseas, not here in the United States. Yeah, exactly. For the last 5 or 6 years, supposedly this form of it is wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I have no clue, no use, no personal firsthand knowledge of it, just anecdotal stories from people. But when we write the article, it'll be in there for sure. And that article is coming from me before the end of July for sure. My copywriter's already started it.
Okay. So you owe me that. You got to put out the peptide Bible, somebody took peptide Bible, right? You have to call it something else.
Yeah. Well, so technically we can still use that. It's a whole other story, not for public airing on the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a course, and it will be a module course, so that there will be a version for patients, and then there'll be a version for clinicians for sure.
That's going to be amazing. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. And by the way, Dr. Heather, what's her name? Heather in Florida. I can't think of her name right now. Heather, she's going to kill me that I can't think of her name right now. My brain is so spun. She's got a really good peptide course too. The whole thing with peptides blew up last year because of COVID. You know, all the regulatory bodies, the thing that TaylorMade was doing, that unraveled.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
Was with them, whatever they were called. And then there was the Peptide Society, that went down too.
Yep.
So there's really nobody now except Regenerative Docs, which is Serena, which I don't know if you know her, but she's building a new one.
Okay.
And so once that one comes out, like you guys will all know about like that, it'll be another like kind of governing body, but it'll be really good stuff with peptides. She's involved with me and Nick, and she's asking us to help with like building out the course modules and stuff like that. So I don't think peptides is dead.
Good.
I think it's going to be reborn again.
Yeah.
But right now it's just kind of like in a gestational period.
Yeah. That's understandable. The FDA does that to good stuff. Anything good.
Right.
Going to be pulled. Right. So for your products, we will have all of the links in the show notes, posted everywhere, on social media, on my website, everywhere. And then you gave me a code for people to get 15% off. So if they use
Absolutely,
Amie,
just use the code DRAIMIE, Dr. Amie.
Yep.
You get 15% off your purchase. Of everything. And I always tell people, go through the checkout process, and then we offer you all sorts of other bigger discounts. So like usually like you'll get even more beyond that. It's not affiliate related, but we bundle everything up and give you like a post-purchase opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you don't use it, you can send it to a friend. So, but yeah, I mean, you get a 15% discount, which is the strongest discount that we give. So, hopefully that'll move the needle for a lot of your customers.
That's awesome. It's totally affordable. You got to try it. If you're suffering with hair
the results that it gives you, there's no doubt.
No doubt.
Hey, it's like I always say, do you want to drive a Toyota or do you want to drive a BMW? It's that simple.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, Jay, thank you so much for your time today. We've talked about so much and I love it all. And I'm excited and I want to have you back on because we can talk for hours. So, but thank you.
Amie, I really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me come on. It was an amazing, profound show. There's a lot of information that we dropped today, and I appreciate the opportunity.
A lot of information. All right. Well, thank you once again. We will have all the information in the show notes for everybody to click on and check it out.